Howdy you cousins, old Rusty here. This video is going to show you a bunch of jewelry and items that I have set up to use and sell on a new platform called Whatnot. I'm not terribly familiar with it. This is going to be my first time, but I wanted to show you kind of how I have it all set up here. And if anyone's interested, after seeing this video, it'll be running tomorrow at noon. That would be Wednesday. At noon Eastern time. This is my first of hopefully many shows, so if you don't catch this one, no big deal. You can come around to the other. And then coming weeks, I plan on doing several of these and then also getting some stuff up on a website. I'm trying to move myself away from my reliance upon eBay, and I'm going to use another platform. Let me get into showing you some stuff, and then I will reveal exactly what happened and why I'm finally taking this step. All right, folks, look at this table, and you can see I've got it all set up here. I plan on printing off a little page with some information about our YouTube and the podcast we do to put up here in the background. So the idea is I've got all this stuff out, and it's kind of here for people to see while I'm running the sale, of course. And this is all vintage and antique jewelry. The way this is going to set up is here at the front of the table, you can see I have this little light. It's like a ring light, and it will hold a camera. And so the idea is while I'm running the sale, the camera will sit here plugged in to a charger so it doesn't die. And this is going to be showing everything in the background, and then I'm going to hold up the items right here and show them as they are going for sale. And then over here on the side here, I'm going to place my laptop, and that's where the sale, I'll kind of be able to run the sale, hit buttons and junk and run things that way. But out here is the stuff that I'm going to sell. Over here, I've already kind of laid out in amongst several older jewelry boxes that I just sort of had around that had been for sale but never sold. Oh well, I'll use them for display now. And then I've got a container of some goodies here I'll talk about. The way I have it set up is I've got various pieces of vintage and antique jewelry. I really have not set it up in any particular way for any specific reason other than just to make it colorful and show that there's a good amount of stuff. We're looking at somewhere between 150 and 200 items here. A ring is an item, a pair of earrings is an item, necklaces, bracelets. You can see that I've got a few bundles. They'll be like a set. So this is like a necklace earrings. We've got some antique earrings here. And then all kinds of other stuff, that I'm going to talk about. I've got it displayed, and this is typically what happens. So if I roll over here, I'll grab them because I didn't. I've got a bunch of these baggies. And so what's going to happen tonight is I'm going to go through, just to save time for tomorrow as a part of my preparation, I'm going to write numbers, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to probably, 150 to begin with. So what'll happen is I'll run these, and as soon as a piece is done, I'm just going to stick them in the corresponding numbered bag. For those of you who are not terribly familiar with what this Whatnot program is, it's essentially like, I would say it's very much like QVC, if you recall, where a person would stand there on video and live, they'd be showing you an item, and then, they'd pop up and say, get it now for this price or whatever. In their case, they probably had many multiples. They could sell any number to people who wanted them. In my case, I just got, one of a particular thing. But the way it works is it's an auction site. And what'll happen is I can set it up for a few seconds, 10, 15 seconds. And then I click the button and it goes. I'm like, here, for example, let me just give you an example here. This is kind of a neat little thing here. This is it is exactly what it looks like. It is a butterfly. I'll try to zoom in here, get my hand background. Come on now. Goodness, there we go. And this is set in glass with this little, it's almost like stained glass, the way it's kind of got the metal around it, but it's a pressed butterfly on one side, and then it's even more beautiful on this side. And this is like a pendant on a necklace. And so let's say I'm holding it here, I'm like, hey, look at this cute little butterfly here, beautiful thing, it's a necklace. And then I pick whatever I want to start at, $1, $2, $5, and I run it. And as long as people keep bidding, it'll reset every 3 to 5 seconds until everyone's done bidding. And whatever it bids on, a person buys it. And so what happened, I'll be like, thank you, Joyce, or whoever it is that purchased it. Bernard, whoever, and then I put this over here, and then this will say 1. I'll put it in baggie number 1, and then I'll drop it in a little bin here. And when I'm done with the entire sale, folks, I take my bin, right, and I walk her over here to my computer setup, and over there, that's where I will fulfill it. I have a Rolo printer. It doesn't use ink. It's just it's not a dye sublimation, but it is like a heat transfer situation, I think, something like that. But I'm excited, folks, to get in here because this is going to allow me, hopefully, to sell a bunch of items in a short period of time. By short, it is still going to run a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours, probably. But you know how many months it would take me to sell all these pieces of jewelry? Unless I ran them at like a 99-cent auction, it would take me potentially months. And would I make more money over time selling these on eBay? Yeah. Probably I would, but it would take a long period of time. I'd also have to go through, research, and photograph all of them. One of the advantages, folks, of using this Whatnot platform is that there are a variety of ways you can do it, but the way I'm going to do it is the way where I don't actually have to go through and photograph the items. I don't have to go through and make 150 individual listings and make them go live as an auction or a buy it now, and then check on it, and then delist it, and then relist it. And I don't have to mess with waiting for a person to pay me because on this platform, they pay you pretty much immediately. And then I'm required to ship it within 2 days, which I don't have a problem doing. But guys, some of you are probably asking yourselves, well, Rusty, you've been doing this for quite a while. Some of you might be saying, why haven't you done this sooner? Well, that's a good question. I've been thinking about it for a while, but I'm always so busy running around. But let me just tell you real quickly a story. I won't chew on your ear for very few minutes here, but let me tell you what the last straw was and why I'm doing what I'm doing. About 3 months ago, I got on my eBay site and I found that there was something that looked like a restriction on my account. And so I call eBay, and the short story is that they didn't really give me an explanation. There was no warning, but they stopped paying me out within 2 or 3 days of when the item has been paid for by the buyer. And instead, now they're waiting until 3 days after it has arrived to the buyer. So this is what it does. It really extends the amount of time I have to wait to get paid for my items, which is a major bummer since I am a full-time reseller and my livelihood, the money I earn, is what I use to pay my bills. I don't have another full-time job, right? So if I run a 7-day auction, I'm waiting 7 days for that thing to sell. Let's say it sells, but that buyer takes 2 days to pay me. Well, now we're looking at 9 days. All right, well, if I'm prepared and ready, I can ship it the very next day, but I have a 3-day shipping window. Well, let's say I get it out right away on the 10th day. All right, now it's going ground advantage because it's just a piece of jewelry, so $4 or $5 shipping. It's going to take 3 days to get there. Now we're at 12 days. All right, it arrives. And let's say then 3 days later, we're at 15 days now, which is over 2 full weeks. Finally, eBay is now releasing the funds to me. So I have the funds, but I also have a return policy that's 30 days, which means everything I sell, folks, I don't actually get to get the money for 2 weeks minimum. And then I don't get to spend that money for 30 days because I got to make sure there's no return. So everything is projected out. That was like 2 or 3 months ago. But oh, folks, it gets, well, not better. It gets worse. So then last week I get on and I find that no longer are my 3 eBay stores. I have 3 of them. No longer when I get on to look at something that I have fulfilled does it give me any information about where it is in transit or when the funds will be released. It simply says funds on hold.
And then I go from one eBay store to another, and guess what I find? Not just one, but all 3 of my eBay stores now have what appeared to be another restriction. So again, I call up eBay and I say, hey folks, what's going on here? I've noticed this. What's happening? And again, it was a long drawn out conversation, but here was the takeaway. Yes, another restriction had been put on all of my accounts because they're all connected to me. They gave no explanation as to what it was that triggered it, other than to say there are things like this that they'll do from time to time just to make the marketplace a safer place for buyers. I don't know why holding my funds for a longer period of time makes it a safer place, but that wasn't really something they explained, but that was the situation. So no longer am I able to see on my end where the package is. And also, they're not telling me when they're planning on releasing my funds. But the worker told me that it could be up to 30 days or longer. And that sometimes when these restrictions happen, they didn't say this would apply to me or not, but they didn't say it wouldn't, is that they won't actually release funds until the buyer has received the item and gotten on and notified eBay through their system that they're happy with the purchase or that they plan on keeping the item. So I'm now potentially having to wait until my buyer takes some sort of action on their end after they receive the item. And if they don't do so, it just delays the process longer. Folks, it took me a little while to adjust to the first change in my account where now I've got to wait an extra week or two to get paid. So I had to make adjustments. But after this last thing, folks, their inability or unwillingness to explain to me why this restriction was placed, they wouldn't tell me how long it would be there or if there's anything I have to do to help it to change. What this has shown me after 25 years on eBay is that I can no longer rely on that platform to be a good business partner for me because I cannot trust that they're not going to do something to significantly impact the time in which I get paid for items and to affect my business in that negative way. It's unfortunate because I've spent a long time on that platform. It was a good partnership for a long time. I was able to sell a bunch of things. They made a bunch of money as well through the fees and the sales fees of things. But it occurs to me, folks, that there are platforms where I can do this work faster, maybe with a little less work up front, and get paid quicker. So that's why I'm moving over to exploring this other platform. And it's not the only one I'm exploring. I'm also exploring some others. I'm also working to try to get my own website up so that things can be purchased directly from me, and then I don't lose a sales fee percentage to another platform. So that's what's happening. I don't plan on shutting down my eBay stores, at least at this moment, but I am no longer adding things. I was putting up things every single day, and sometimes on weekends as well, putting up new stuff all the time. Well, eBay, you're not getting my business in that way anymore. I've already done the work listing things on there. It would be a shame to have to pull all that down and relist it somewhere else. I'm not opposed to doing that. In fact, I am doing with that some of my jewelry. But for now, I'm going to let some of this stuff ride. But if I'm telling you right now, if something else happens tomorrow, something pops up, I just might have to take extra measures. But let's go back to the jewelry table for a moment. Let me show you some of these items and tell you why I picked them for this first sale. Well, why don't I start off by clicking this button here to give us a little light. Boom, on this stuff. And let's talk about it. So this was my thinking, folks, for why I picked the stuff that I picked. For this first one, I wanted there to be stuff of good enough quality that people would actually think to themselves, maybe I should come back. This guy's got some decent items, right? I'm hoping to be engaging enough in my conversation, which is not my strong suit, but we'll see what we can do. The other thing is, though, I want it all to be vintage and antique to fit in the category, but I didn't want it to be so high value on my first one. And the reason is, part of what helps people who do whatnot be successful is to have a good following and have people that they know are going to be there. If you've only got 5 or 10 people in there, you may not get as high sales or as many sales as you want, as opposed to if you have like 50 or 100 people in there.
And so I didn't want something super valuable that I start too low and lose money on items in the first one simply to get people tuning in. But part of it is I will likely sell a lot of this stuff under the value that I would get on eBay, but that's okay because I look at it a little bit as almost like a marketing expense. I'm not spending money. I'm almost giving up some value in order to convince people that I'm a person who they should buy from, right? So let's start off. What I got here is a bunch of things like pendants, glass pendants. This is carved bone. Some more glass. I've got some Bakelite rings here. Here's a beautiful piece that's a micro mosaic, brooch, which is kind of cool right there. This was taken out of an 18 karat gold mourning brooch. The gold was sold separately, I guess. This is a bunch of earring pairs. Now I'm going to pull this out. I just kept them in here together so I don't lose one, but there's a lot of cool old from Austria, Czechoslovakia, a bunch of old different screwback earrings mostly. Here's a bunch of stick pins I'm going to sell. And here's the thing. Some of these will go individually, but some of them I'll put in pairs of 2 or 3 because I really want to move them. They're similar items, right? And if a person only pays $5 or $10 for like 5 or 10 items, then they're getting them for $1 a piece and they feel good about that. Some old vintage, pins here. Both of these, this is gold filled, that's sterling silver, but they're Wedgwood branded pendants. And then all of these buckles here are all Bakelite. Bakelite buckles. This is some handles of something they're Bakelite. So I'm kind of getting, some of these things are like jewelry peripheral, but most of them are jewelry. We got some bracelets, some etched bracelets here. And then all of this stuff is nice. Pendants with coins in them, rings, screwback gold-filled earrings. We've got rhinestone brooches, some antique, some gold stone, some other antique pieces here, a cross. This one's sterling silver with some amethyst, a little pendant there. Over here, we're looking at Bakelite bangles, mother of pearl carved stuff. We've got some cloisonne beaded necklaces, some artisanal, some artist glass, pieces here. And then digging in deeper, we got some coral. We got some art glass here. This kind of reddish purple one is all actual garnet, which is a gemstone. Some Millefiori glass sterling silver necklaces, some more cloisonne bangles, and the list goes on, folks. This little pendant, little pendant here on this orange one, on that necklace there is a Trifari brand. So we got some decent branded stuff back in here. You've got some real pearls, some sterling silver. You got some check glass down here. This isn't jewelry, but that might be a fun, I don't know what that'll be, a giveaway or something maybe. That's a little brush with a porcelain figure there at the top. That's kind of cool. And then we've got more bags of all of these buckles. Right, buckles upon buckles, and I'll probably split these up and put these in, maybe not a lot this size, but maybe, 2 or 3 things at a time for people who like Bakelite or old buckles and such. But we've got all kinds of stuff. Here's some carved jade. We've got more coral back here, pearl necklaces, some stuff with turquoise, of course. Here's a Swarovski crystal, gold-filled clasp bangle in its own original box. That's kind of nice. And, the list goes on, folks. It's kind of cool. I mean, things are just sort of piled up. Right here we've got some, various different stick-together. One brand's called Come Apart. These are cufflinks, right? Old antique cufflinks. So that's kind of cool. We also got earrings and various stuff. So this is going to be my first one. Like I said, 150 items. I'm probably going to list them at about $5 a piece. Tons of people out there who do dollar auctions, and it's like, you lose almost 11% to the platform on the sales, which is, that's less than eBay, but you also are charged 30 cents per transaction. So if I do 100 of these at if I sell 100 items and there are 100 listings, then I'm gonna lose $30 just in that transaction fee. So it makes sense for me to bundle some things. And if a thing doesn't sell, I might try it a little bit later. I'll try it in the next auction. It's not a big deal.
Before I go any further, I just want to mention that if you haven't checked out the description of our videos lately, starting with this one and everyone forward, you're going to now get to see a link to a website that's currently under construction, but soon, and I'll let you know when, where you will be able to go and purchase things directly from me here at the warehouse. Also, which is what this entire video is about, I'm going to put the link to my Whatnot store, so that if you ever want to just come by and just say, hey, what's up, Rusty? I've listened to your videos before, or I've seen your videos, or if you are interested in purchasing something, come on by and just take a look. I hope that I'll get better at doing it, so just be patient with me at first. But I'll put the link down in the description so you can see those two places. Also, keep in mind, we have a podcast, the What Sold podcast, and also another YouTube channel, the What Sold channel. If you haven't taken a look at those descriptions, those links, rather, are also in the descriptions.
I haven't decided yet if I'm going to sell these or if these are going to be giveaways throughout the show. But what I have here, that's actually a hair clip thing, like I think it says made in France. Yeah, it's a French artisanal hair clip there. These are all antique, mostly antique and then vintage some. Hand purses, beaded, clutches and purses and things. A lot of them say made in France or made in Italy. These are things, folks, that I've had up in my eBay store for Coon's age, and I've never been able to sell them. They just don't sell. And some of these are quite cool. This one right here, and I think it fell out. Let's see if I can grab it. Yeah, it fell down in here. This is actually, it's a beaded comb holder, if you can believe that. It holds a comb, and I believe it holds this comb. So I'll have to stick that puppy back in there. But these will all be things that'll go out. Maybe people will buy them. Maybe I can try some of the bigger, nicer ones for $5. A few of these other little ones, though, I might just throw in as gifts. That's another thing with this site, folks, is that if you set it up in such a way, you can give things away during the show, and you don't have to require people to have purchased anything from you. But if they just sign up for it, or if they're in there, or if they follow your store, then they can enter into the giveaway. Again, I've never actually done it yet. I've only seen other people's videos. So I'm going to be doing a test run tonight and maybe in the morning, where I'm not really selling anything. It's just going to be about seeing if I get familiar with the buttons and stuff, because I'm doing it by myself this first time. If it turns out it's too much work, or it'd be much easier to have a second person helping me, then I will certainly try to find someone off the street. Just kidding. I might get Peaches to help, or one of my other confidants here. But anyhow, folks, this is kind of what I got going. I'm hoping that this stuff sells. Let me take a moment and pause from all this jewelry madness and give you a couple clips of something that happened this weekend while I was out in the field looking for goodies.
Hey folks, Rusty here, and I am over getting ready to go into an estate sale. It's one I went to quite a bit in the last 3 or 4 years, but when the hurricane hit, it flooded the area and they shut down. But they've reopened, and I'm going to go over here and enjoy it. What I used to do is go over here, you get a number at 8 o'clock. They let 40 people in at a time. Then you leave and come back, and it opens at 10. What I like to do in between there is head over to a little local bagel shop and get what I call the Rusty Special double bacon, egg, and cheese on Asiago. Let's just see if this thing really has held up over time. It's just so good when it hits your lips, Anyway, I'm going to scarf this puppy down. I'm going to run in here and see what I might be able to find. Well, cousins, I was in and out in about 20 minutes. I went by yesterday because they do a showing where you can go in and see all the items, see where they are, and see what the price is. That's nice, so that you kind of can strategize a game plan, particularly if there's multiple items you want to try to get. I got in line. I got there not early. It opens at 8. I didn't get there till 9:30. I still got number 32 out of 40. So that tells me, and I already knew from going and looking, there wasn't a ton of super valuable stuff in there. There were a couple of things I definitely would have bought, but you know what? I did something that I don't do all the time, but I do from time to time, and that is they've got a jewelry case with nicer fine jewelry in it, and then they've got a bunch of costume jewelry out. Fine jewelry, as you would suspect, is priced higher. Costume jewelry quite low. I found 3 pairs of earrings, hoop gold tone earrings. They were priced at $10 a piece. But I got to looking at them and inspecting them closely. I always carry a loop with me, a jeweler's loop, so I can look closely at stuff. Oftentimes, luckily, I have good eyesight. I can usually spot things without needing a loop. But if I want to get really close to inspect stuff, I'll use that. And you know what I found? All 3 of these pairs were made of 14 karat solid gold. What I could have done is just showed up early, paid $30, and that would have been about $350 worth of gold, based on my estimate of the weight and the current gold price, because it's high. But you know what I did? I went over and I alerted the ladies, look, you've got some solid gold jewelry over here. I know the people you're consigning for would want to know that. And they were very thankful. They took them back. So when I came today and I went to get my number, I explained the story to the gentleman of what happened, and I said, I'm just curious, did they put them in the case? How'd they price him? I might still be interested if they're priced still decently. So he called a manager over, and that lady said, you know what, we just pulled them. They're not even in this sale. We're giving them back to the family, and they were very appreciative. And so all that to say, folks, this business is about making money, but sometimes it's good to do the right thing, and you should never feel bad or regret doing a good thing for somebody else. I try to do that within my business, and I do think that there's a place to do that and also work to making money. And when you're working with other people, I think there is a world where you can work out relationships and deals with people where it is a win-win for both parties, and that's what I'm about. I don't know how many other YouTube channels that talk about buying and selling would communicate that to you, but that's just a personal belief system I have and I hold to, and I think it's a good thing. I'm almost to my next stop. I'm going to take in a bag of jewelry, costume jewelry, to a resale shop in town, and they're not going to pay me a high dollar for it, but they are going to pay me today, and that's better than waiting a month, 2, 3 months for it to sell on eBay and then have to wait for that return window to end. When I pull in the parking lot, I will show you the one item I did purchase today, and I think I did pretty well. All right, folks, this is not great because you can see this glare, but this is what I bought. I bought this watercolor painting of a gentleman in this this canoe, a wooden canoe in the water. And, you know, it's really kind of nice. The great thing about it, it is an original watercolor. And down here, you've got the name of this person. And so I can look that up. That's great. It was $50 for an original oil painting that is signed. That's a pretty good price. So I'm looking forward to looking up this person's name and seeing what I might be able to get for it. Good news, folks. A little bit of research has revealed that the name of this artist is Maurice Hagman, or Houman. I'm not exactly sure how it was pronounced, but it was a Belgian artist. And would you believe it if I told you that items by this pieces of artwork by this artist have sold at Christie's auction house in London? So, folks, generally speaking, if you're spending under $100 on a piece of artwork and you discover, as you're finding who the artist is, that pieces have sold at Sotheby's or Christie's, you're probably on the right track. I don't know what this is going to go for yet, but I'm excited to find out. I'm going to give you a sneak peek, folks, of the next 2 or 3 of these whatnot sales that I'm going to be doing. This one, I don't know if it'll be number 2 or number 3, but I'm very excited about it. And this is the good stuff, folks. This is the good stuff. We've got daguerreotypes in their little cases here. Here's a little girl sitting with a dress. That's cute. We've got Limoges, hand-painted French Limoges, like little jewelry containers. We've got Bakelite prayer beads.
We've got both this necklace and this necklace are signed. Why can't I remember the name? We'll find it. Let's see what she says here. Haskell, Miriam Haskell. That's right, Miriam Haskell. You can see it right there. This is like, almost looks like salmon, like almost like, well, it almost looks like a dark color of this, which is angel skin coral. We've got this beautiful old antique jewelry box, and look what's inside, folks. Boom. This thing is completely full of really nice, high-end, in most cases signed, costume jewelry with beautiful large rhinestones. That's going to be coming up. We've got some watches and watch movements. You can see wrist watches, pocket watches. We've got ceramic hand-painted beaded necklaces, Asian motifs. Here's some cloisonne right here. It's like almost like a little snuff box. We've got cinnabar. We've got mother of pearl beaded necklaces, and whatever this type of glass is. Oh, this almost looks like a Niagara Brothers type of thing. It does have a 14 karat gold clasp. Here's the brand that I always mispronounce, Givenchy, or however you pronounce it. And all kinds of other stuff, goodies. Folks, we've got gold-filled women's spectacles here. All of these are crown trifari brooches and earrings. And then look at all of these goodies of amber glass brooches, pins, belt buckles. We've got bangle bracelets. We've got sterling silver crown trifari crown brooches. And the list goes on, folks. This is an entire set, brooch, earrings, and bracelet of hand-painted Limoges from France. We've got sterling, all of this in the back here, sterling silver or gold-filled hand-painted. We've got turquoise Southwest jewelry. Look at this piece of jasper, folks. Picture jasper. It looks like a desert scene. That is natural, folks. Nobody made that. It was formed that way, and then somebody took a look at it and said, hey, it would be a cool look if we cut it in this direction, and they polished it. It looks like, this could be Arizona or New Mexico. It's in a sterling silver bangle bracelet. We've got Navajo beaded vintage graduated necklaces. And the list goes on. This is a fun one, folks. This was a teether for children back in the day. It's got this little bunny rabbit eating some soup or some cereal or something on there, and it rattles. They can hold on to it. But this is going to be one coming up, and I'm going to add more to it. But that's probably 50 to 60 items, maybe 75 items there. Over here, we've got vintage toys. We've got Care Bears. We've got all kinds of G.I. Joe, Star Wars, and other action figures from the 80s, accessories and weapons. We've got a bunch of these old little muscle men. You remember these guys, right? Like these rubbery, plasticky figures. We've got all kinds of Transformers from the 1980s. I've got some old Rambo action figures in here. We're talking old Ninja Turtles. We're talking He-Man. Here you got Skeletor. We've got stuff that is back from the old Ghostbusters days. Okay, that's what this guy, he's actually a ghost, folks. He's not a police officer, so be careful of those officers when you're out looking. Also, for that matter, look out for Granny, because 1 second she looks like this nice old granny. Hey, come back in here. Can you help me move something out of my closet? Sure, no problem. And then boom. And then look at what she does when she's munching. Hold on. Look at her teeth and her eyes. Oh my goodness, get out of here. That's going to be fun to display, folks, on the way. I'm going to be honest with you. Several of these are stuff I had when I was a kid, and just fun stuff. And the list goes on. This one's got all kinds of stuff. We got some vintage Halloween stuff in here, vintage ink pens and pencils. Down in here, we got a card figurine. I mean, the list goes on, folks. I've got enough stuff already set up for, probably the next 3 or 4 sales I do after this before I even have to replenish inventory. But I do need to get back, set up, and get prepared to be trying to replenish this more quickly than I typically have, simply because I'm going to be able to run through so many things through per auction that I'm going to need to be ready for the next week.
Well, that's it today, folks. Thanks so much for sticking around. Listen, if you don't ever want to come over and check out this site or buy from me, that is totally fine. This channel is entirely dedicated to trying to support other people who like to buy and sell, give information to people who want to learn about antiques and collectibles. So I'm never going to require payment for anything that you consume on this channel because that's what's important to me. But I do sell things for a living, and if you ever do find something that I show in a video here that you want to purchase or you're interested, contact us, email us, or go to these shows. I'm going to start off by doing probably 1 a week. We'll see how it goes. I might very quickly be able to pop up to 2 a week. But don't forget, we've got this channel, Rusty the Reseller. We've also got the What Sold YouTube channel, and that's where we really just talk specifically about things we have and what they sold for and where I sold them. I'm going to be adding more to that soon now that I'm on this new platform. And then if you like podcasts on the way to work, the What Sold podcast has been out now. We just finished our 100th episode, if you can believe it. And, it's been awesome. So we've got a bunch of information out there, lots of places you can consume. But for now, I'm going to be trickling out of eBay, building up the whatnot, and I'm also going to be putting stuff up on a website. And that way, maybe on your own time, you can come and check that out periodically. Well, that's enough today, folks. More than you needed to hear. I hope you learned something, saw something that got you excited. And good luck treasure hunting. We'll see you real soon.
Boop, boop,
Let's go make some money. Rusty, 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 how to? Rusty, 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 how to? Rusty, 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 how to? Rusty, Rusty.